This is bear spray. It is about $110 for this one bottle. There are many kinds. You can find them on amazon.co.jp, Japan, Amazon Japan, as well as various different price points. I researched this pretty deeply. I came up with this brand. It's called Saber. You can see it's in Japanese, so this is an imported version from the United States, made for Japan, I suppose. I got it at Bic Camera, which is where you would buy camera gear as well as refrigerators and electronic products. But they also are very reputable, so you know you're going to get a very good product from Bic Camera. You're not going to get a counterfeit one. And that's why I bought it from there. It took about a day to come to me, and there it is. It's 234 milliliters. You can spray it. It lasts about 6 to 7 seconds. That's it. And there's a reason for that. And I want to talk about bear spray and if you need it. And because despite all of the media talking about bears attacks here in Japan, because of it, people are scared. And a lot of people are asking me all about, do they need to have bear spray? Do they need to carry this with them? My answer is no. 1 minute into this thing. You don't really need to carry bear spray. It's actually like the same weight as carrying a can of Coca-Cola, in your bag. And you can't carry this inside your bag in the back. That defeats the purpose of having bear spray. You always need to carry it in the front or with you so that you could quickly grab it and then spray the bear that you're attacking. And if you don't have any experience with having bear spray or have any kind of training with it, it can be more of a liability than an asset. And I want to talk about this very much. You cannot bring bear spray with you from the United States and bring it in your suitcase to Japan, I believe. I think that it's something of a controlled substance or something. I looked at this. You can't have it sent to you from the United States to Japan. It has to go in through an importer, I believe. And you could try. If you ask, maybe the information changes over time. But this bottle, I think, is about half the price in the United States. So bringing it would save you money. But I could not find a way to have it sent to me from the United States. It was just easier to buy it at cost here in Japan. Carrying around a can of bear spray, I did this in a video that I'm editing right now. This video will be online probably in a couple of weeks. I'm hoping before Thanksgiving. And I'm talking about, I do talk about bears a little bit in this. Let me just show you the introduction here. I went hiking, part of it by myself in the deep woods and also with a guide for about 4 days, soaking in onsens, eating good soba, really enjoying Japanese countryside, staying in a mountain lodge. It was a really good, you can see the bear spray is in front of me in my pocket. It's right there for me to grab in case I need it in order to protect myself from raging bears. This episode will be online in about, like 2 weeks or so. I'm not quite finished with the edit, but I'm working with the good people in Niigata and Nagano who want to promote this part of tourism. The problem is with all the bear attack news, tourism to the countryside, to these areas that is bear country, is way down. And we saw in the news just recently, I think it was yesterday, tourism to Iwate, to Morioka in particular, is down. Japanese tourists are also being creeped out by all this news of bear attacks. The reality is we've had 13 fatalities because of bear attacks, all of it being in bear country, but the bears are coming out of the mountains into populated areas, and there's a reason for that. They're not coming to tourist attractions per se. You're not gonna, and the one person who actually asked me, I'm doing fine, Samuel. Thanks for asking. Aloha, Michael. Just to, the reason why I'm doing this because I'm getting more and more people asking me about, do I need bear spray? My response was to one person, so where are you going? And they said, I'm going to Nara. So to Nara, near Kyoto and Osaka? No, you don't need bear spray. I don't think so. Are you going to be going off into the mountains of Nara? No, they're just going to go to the, around where the tourists are. I said, no, you don't need bear spray. Probably the bears aren't going to be coming down there, but you don't really know for sure. But look, carrying around a can of bear spray because you might it doesn't make a lot of sense. The percentages is like 0.00001% or something like that. We got 125 million people in Japan. There were 13 fatalities, which is a lot more than usual. You're more there's more chance probably to get attacked by a bear in Japan than in the United States. That's true, but you're also there's a higher chance of you getting attacked by a deer than a bear in Japan. I just want to put that out there. I'm somebody who has been attacked by a bear. By a deer and a bear, if you count Melon Kuma, which is a mascot that is a ferocious bear that has blood on his teeth that eats little kids to scare them about bears and bear safety. Do you ever feel like eating bear curry? I have before, actually. I had bear in Gunma Prefecture. There are hunters. They do hunt a certain amount of bears, and in local cuisine, bear meat is there. It's quite tough to eat. The hunters are using it, and I think that's a good thing, because you shouldn't, if you have to hunt the bear, it's a good thing to use the meat and the fur, not to waste it and just to incinerate it all. But, you know, these have been sacrificed for food, so we give thanks for that when that occurs. Ramsey Silent has found the Melon Kuma icon. Let me take a look at some of the news articles. I have encountered bears before. Let me just bring this to you. So I have an episode on my main channel here. It's called the East Hokkaido Experience. Most of the, I got a new gimbal. It seems to like to track me now. Hey, back off. So the Hokkaido has the most amount of bear attacks, I think. The bears up there are a little bit different variety. They're more vicious. They're more apt to attack you. And in this, Peter and I, we were driving in an RV and we encountered bears. And I want to show you a little bit of that video and talk about our encounter. After I say thank you to Brandania Mahalo. She just got home from a trip, and Personality of a Brick Wall, thank you again for that as well. Let me show you the video here. This is on the main channel, and I think it's a pretty good video that explains bear country. And don't approach them, don't feed them. If you see them, get in your car, try to get away from them, back away from them. I'll talk a little bit about safety, but we were driving in a national park up in the northeast. It's a beautiful area. A lot of tourists go there, but there they are walking on the frickin' road. I'm not now, my zoom lens has got them a lot closer, you see, than I'm filming with a 8K camera, so it's a lot closer. I can zoom in on that, and with highly stabilized too, because the car's bouncing around like crazy. But you can see the bears are nonchalantly walking down the road, just chilling out. But they've come to the road, they've come to this area looking for food, foraging, because they would typically stay in the woods. Now, it's a national park. This is their home, not our home. So you have to kind of respect that very much. But this was cute. The little bear, he looks back at us and then he runs away. Those are the bears causing the most havoc, the younger ones, believe it or not. It's not the adults, but it's the younger ones that are that don't have the same amount of food as the other ones. We were quite happy. This is 2022, 3 years ago, to encounter bears in the car was kind of neat. But if you're in person, you definitely don't want to be encountering bears, not without having a can of bear spray. So if you know you're going to be hiking, you know you're going to be going out to the countryside or camping, then I think you probably it's a good idea to have bear spray. But if you are going to be in tourist sites, you're not going to be spending a lot of time in the Japanese countryside. You're not going to be walking outside at times that have the greatest chance of encountering, meaning in the early morning or in the evening when bears are more apt to be wandering around and surprising them. You don't need to have a can of bear spray. Everybody at the Shin Etsu Trail in the Nagano and Niigata that I was working with, nobody had bear spray with them. I was the only one. And that's funny too. My guide, he didn't have bear spray either. So he said, would you like me to carry that for you? And I was like, wait, so you're going to take my weapon? That means that you're going to have to be able to whip this out real fast. And he goes, and I said, he can do it. He's been trained in bear spray. I'm not. But I want to show you really quickly. I'm going to look at the comments here really quickly on how to do it. I'm not going to spray it inside my house. And also, I don't walk around the city of Tokyo with bear spray. It's the same as like pepper spray. I think it might be somewhat illegal. I'm not sure the legality of walking around with bear spray. But to operate the bear spray, usually there's a safety on here. You have like seconds. You whip it out and take off the safety like this. and then level it down, okay, at first. So start it and go, psh. You probably only need, there's about 6 seconds worth of spray in here. You probably only need like one blast, and it's going to scare them away. Most of the charges are fake or just kind of testing you. So 1 second, do it down, because when a bear attacks you, they're going to come down and then they come up like this. So you want to set up a mist underneath there, and then like this, and then spray it until the can is empty if you feel threatened, because that'll create a massive amount of spray out in that direction to make sure that the bear, there's a massive like chili peppers in here that disturb the nose really badly, because bears hate this. It's very potent, and it'll keep the bears, just the pain of it will make them turn around and get the heck out of there. But start low and then raise it up higher. Like this. Normally you won't have to use all the bear spray, but people have told me it's a good idea to probably use it all. When you're done, or if you haven't used it all, make sure the locking mechanism is on there. Put it back in the front of your bag just in case he comes back for more. Bottom line, having a can of bear spray gives you peace of mind, but do not skimp on the bear spray, because there's a reason why this costs more. This has a mist. It basically shoots it out strong and shoots it out wide, meaning the pepper that's going to disturb the bear is going to be all over the place, meaning like if he goes left or right, you don't have a lot of time. You're going to make sure you get a direct hit with this because it's all over the place. There are bear sprays that are half the price, made in our neighbor, the country to neighboring us, and it's not the same. The spray comes out a lot weaker. Sometimes their selling point is it's 30 seconds of spray. You don't need 30 seconds of bear spray. All right, and the bear spray is only good for 4 years if you buy it new. If there's a discount on the bear spray, most likely it's because it's only good for 3 years or 2 years. It does expire. So don't get the cheaper bear sprays. I think there's about 2 or 3 very reputable companies. This is not something you want to skimp on, because if you do take it out, it's like, you have a gun, or you have a like a BB gun versus a real gun. You want to have stuff that's definitely going to be working, right? And if you look at the bear on here, we're talking some serious stuff here. This is good for grizzlies. Japanese bears are not as grizzly-like, but they are scary. If you do come in touch with them, it's like, I think tourists, I've seen images of tourists trying to feed the bears when they encounter them. I think they think it's like Winnie the Pooh or something. These bears are wild creatures. They're massive. They're much bigger than you, and they have claws. So you're definitely going to want to get the heck away from there. So the ways to do it, you don't make eye contact. Back away. Don't show your teeth either. Don't try to laugh either. It's not a funny situation. Don't show your teeth. Don't look at them. Make yourself look bigger and back away. And then you're probably going to be okay. Most of the time they won't charge you. It's all about survival. Don't take your backpack off if you have that on, because that could be useful for defense. If an attack should occur, the bear doesn't do this unless the bear feels threatened. So you're not going to have a bear coming after you. But the bottom line is, you want to avoid an attack. You don't want the attack. You don't want to encourage it. So the best way is to make sure that you don't encounter the bear at all. A lot of the hikers will have bells on their pack. I find that extremely annoying. So I do something that's probably annoying in another way. I yelp. Kramer was really good at this on Seinfeld. Yep, 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 yep. I'll yelp every now and then, or clap. I'll clap every now and then, or yelp. That usually will keep the bears away. It's actually quite annoying, maybe, but yelping. You can do cat calls. Anything that makes noises. Talking is a great way to do it. If you have a buddy with you, if you're talking, that's usually enough that you won't startle the bear. The idea is that you don't want to startle the bear and then they're going to attack in a defensive posture. Just be really careful with that. Let me run down a list of some stuff. I've been doing a little bit of research on this. So the Hokkaido brown bears, they're called the higuma, and they have a much different temper. So most of the bear attacks will be occurring in Hokkaido, believe it or not. That beautiful, cute place of chocolate and milk and cows and snow is where the bears attack the most. They're larger and bolder, especially at the Shiretoko, which is where I showed you the bears in Shiretoko National Park. So there's a ton of them there. If you're a hiker, you got to carry bear spray up in bear country. You really do. Nagano, Niigata, Akita, Toyama, Fukushima. That's where I was this month hiking, and it's an Asian black bear there, and they're shyer actually. They avoid people. I was encountered not a lot of people out there actually because everyone's afraid of bears. But the people I encountered were really hardcore hikers. Some of them. One guy had hiked the Appalachian Trail. Japanese guy. My guide had hiked the Appalachian Trail, and he said he encountered more wildlife there than he did in Japan. But the bears in this region are a lot shyer, and they probably run away from humans more than the Hokkaido ones. But still, you don't want to get in touch with them. The level of risk is low. However, this year, and actually the last couple of years, food has been more scarce in the mountains because of the hotter summers, and because maybe the bear population has also increased quite a bit. The bigger bears are getting most of the food, so it's the smaller, the younger bears that are more curious and leaving the refuge of the mountains and coming down to more populated areas. I talked in this video that's coming up soon on the Shinetsu Trail. I talked with a bear hunter. Actually, he's a spiritual bear hunter. Matagi is the term, I believe, and he's I think he was third generation or fourth generation Matagi, and his grandfather would use this yari, or kind of a spear. And I was telling you how the bears, when they attack, they go low. And so you'd have to do the yari like this when the bear attacked you, and the bear would get a lot of those hunters, right? But if you did it right, you would get the bear every time. But these are bears, man. So they would hunt bears like 2 or 3 a year. They would be used for food, for ceremonial purposes. So it's not like they were taking a lot of them, but it certainly kept the bear population somewhat at bay. But now the bear population is starting to catch up to the historical levels, is what they say. So we're starting to see less food available because the hotter summer, the berries, the foods that they typically eat, they're not in the same abundance. So they're coming down to more populated areas looking for the food. They're hungrier, so they're more apt to be aggressive, because when you're hungry, if I'm hungry and my wife asks me for something, I might say, "What are you asking me?" I'm not like that, but I probably would be, there's a higher chance that I would be a little bit irritable if I was hungry. I'm just using it as an example because, we might have had a slight argument this morning. I didn't have the bear spray out, so there's nothing to threaten with, but I would never do something like that. I'm just joking around. But the tanki, or the temper of the bear, is certainly going to be something that you got to consider. Don't try to feed the bear. You just want to stay away from it. If you do encounter a bear and you get out of it, or you use the bear spray, it's a good idea for you to tell the local police that you encountered a bear. Describe the bear. I don't know. You could say if it was big or small. They might ask it. They might try to find that bear. It's good for them to know that there's a bear in the area, because if a bear is, I don't know, maybe it's one that another hiker had encountered as well, or one that the same kind of bear that had attacked another hiker. You could say, when I say by describe, you could just say the size of it, if it was small, if it had any marks like tattoos. I'm joking around there, but seriously, sometimes they have gashes from fighting each other for food. So this is something that will help the authorities, because right now it looks like the military is getting involved. So to help you out, I kind of searched bear attack Japan on here. I'm gonna take a look at some of the articles here. The front one is the articles are coming out real hot and heavy, and it's scaring a lot of the Japanese people. Bear attacks are extremely rare. Even now, despite all the news, there is still extremely rare. The chance of you getting attacked by a bear is like 0.00001%. It's the same as if you were get hit by a car, or if you were to fall off of a mountain, or if you have a slip on the street. That's about the same as getting a bear attack. So I don't think that there's any risk. I think it's just something in the news that's become a little bit more sensationalized. Even NHK is getting into sensationalism. The Japan Times, in an article just yesterday, kind of was really based. And we'll take a look at that in a second. Bear attacks in northeastern Japan deflate tourism amid peak fall foliage. This is something that worries me as someone who loves tourism and getting people out to the countryside. Tourism is down out there. So you can find some pretty good deals on hotels this autumn. And the autumn foliage is starting to peak right now out in the countryside. So it's a really good opportunity to get out there. It's going to be in Kyoto probably next week. You're going to see it. The bear crisis leaves communities in fear of attack. Yeah, because you keep talking about it like this. All right? It's not, there are bears coming down here, but they're not, it's not like people are getting, dragged into the forest and eaten by packs of bears. It's just like, it's 13 people out of 125 million. But there are communities that are at higher risk. That's true. Japan Times, it says, death by bear is far more likely in Japan than in North America. That is a great way to start off an article to keep you reading, isn't it? Right? If the data are boldly interpreted and a few assumptions are made, and this has probably been the case for more than a century, Japanese bears seem to be a statistically significant outlier in the ursine world. Ursine meaning bear. Yeah, I think that because Japan is a highly populated country, the majority of the country, believe it or not, a lot of you might not know this, but Japan is more of a forest and mountain country than you realize. You see images of the Shinkansen and the cities and stuff. The vast majority of Japan is forest, countryside, what I just showed you. It's a beautiful, beautiful country for nature. But it's true. There's been an increase in bear attacks, 13 fatalities, and maybe about 100 bear attacks. That seems like a lot, but there have been a lot of bear attacks every year that just don't get reported. A lot of them, they don't even, if you encounter a bear, the bear usually runs away. They don't even talk to the police because there's not a lot of statistics on this stuff. The statistics really started just a few years ago on this kind of stuff. Something that the bears in Japan sets them apart. It appears, judging by news reports, videos, and anecdotes, their attacks can be more random, more sustained, and more vicious than bear attacks elsewhere. The assaults are sometimes characterized by almost cinematic brutality that bellies the established narrative about the animal. So there was a report of a guy who was attacked, a woman who was attacked. The bear had eaten her ear off and left some massive gashes in her head. It was a gruesome injury. That is absolutely possible if you encounter a bear and it goes wrong. Bears in Japan have at times stalked humans for days on end and attacked. If you're in a farm field, the bear could come out and try to stalk you. If he sees you there, he's not going to be scared like a crow would be with a scarecrow. He might come back the next day or follow you around. You escape, but the bear stays in the area. When you come back out, he might follow you around. This is some scary stuff. This is why bears, there are bear hunters and why that exists. So I think that the newspaper, it is sensationalized, very much so. After coming and walking around Nagano and the Niigata area, didn't encounter the bears. None of the locals were afraid of bear attacks. But a lot of people that live outside of Niigata and Nagano were not going. The roads were pretty much empty, which is really weird for this time of year because it was peak autumn foliage. This is a great article. You can read all about it. I don't need to bore you by looking at it over and over again. This is this month's postcard. I'll be sending this in about 3 days. So I'd love to send you this one. This is from on Friday. I took this with the drone shot. You can see me in the middle of the bridge. There isn't another car in sight. You could see the autumn foliage had come down from the mountains and had hit the river valley. And it was hiking across a bridge to get from one side of the trail to the other one. And I took the drone out and I was just surprised, shocked at the beauty of this. This will be going on there with a beautiful stamp from Japan with a Tokyo postmark. You'll get that on the back. And a QR code with a map of the hiking trail which will be a guide for the episode that'll be released on YouTube in a couple of weeks. So this postcard is going to go out to you, and that's the beauty of the Japanese countryside. I mean, it is so stunningly beautiful, and the connection with nature, Japan's culture is so strongly connected with nature. You don't see that in Tokyo or in Osaka or Kyoto. It's only when you go to a place like this that you really start to, you feel the people are more sincere, not in a because you're a tourist way, but because they just, they are it's more authentic. It's not a hospitality tourism thing. The people are more authentic out there because they're just like doing their daily lives. I like that. The food is so good. The mushrooms out there, incredible. We went mushrooming, foraging, I think is the word. I went out with the proprietor of the Japanese inn for 30 minutes. He drove me in his car and we went out mushroom hunting. And we picked out mushrooms for the next day's dinner. It was amazing. There's a ton of them. Maitake we found and a bunch of other mushrooms just growing out there. We didn't find any matsutake, but he said that there's some in the forest there as well. Incredible experience. The food is incredible. And they add those mushrooms in with the soba, the fresh soba of Nagano. It's such a famous place for it. These are noodles, either hot, but usually I like to eat it cold with a dipping sauce, right? And put a little negi and wasabi in the dipping sauce. It's so good, served with some tempura. Usually that tempura are those mushrooms, breaded and deep fried. Oh my goodness. That crunchy, sizzling hot tempura with a little bit of salt on there. Oh my goodness. That's going to be in this episode as well. But bottom line is, you do not need bear spray to travel around Japan. I think if you are specifically going to be doing hiking, it might be a good idea to get this. If you go to Mont Bell, which is the North Face or Patagonia of Japan, Mont Bell, actually, you can rent the bear spray. I think it's 3 days for 2,000 yen or something like this. So it's like, I don't know, $15, $20 for 3 days. And if you don't use it, you don't pay anything. You just had it as a peace of mind. And it's I believe it's this one. This is the kind that they have. But if you use it, I think it's more, if it's a second or more, and they have a way to tell by weighing it. If you use it, then you have to buy the full thing minus the deposit that you gave at the beginning. So you would pay the full price minus this, and then you get to keep your bear spray for the rest of the trip. But if you had to use it, it was money well spent. So sometimes I think if you're going to be hiking for 3-4 days, renting the bear spray probably a good idea. You can carry it with you. Mont Bell will take the bear spray back. You only lose 2,000 yen instead of like 16,000 yen, which is what I think this is 12 to 16,000 yen depending on the peak, because some of these might be sold out because of the panic that's going on. Renting it is an option if you're going hiking for 3-4 days. You want peace of mind, you can get it, but put it in the front that you can get it in case you need it. Don't put it in your side your backpack. It's worthless there. That's why you have it. So I'm like carrying it in my hand sometimes. I had it in my pocket. Anywhere I could keep the bear spray. I was ready because I don't want to get mauled. And this is a good tool to have, especially if you're hiking by yourself, going around like a video game with bear spray, like just hoping it doesn't happen. If you do that, though, you're going to miss all the beautiful foliage, all the beautiful scenes around you, and that would be a travesty. Does it work for wild boars? I don't know. I think it works for any animal that is sensitive in the nose, because if it's sensitive, then you're going to feel that pain. It'll work with people and it'll work with other tourists, but do not use this. Again, don't take this out to like Kyoto and travel around the city with this. It's just, not only is it's heavy, it's weird. It might be even a crime, I think, because it's like a mace or pepper spray, which I think is somewhat illegal in Japan. I'm not sure. I know it's illegal to carry a knife, to wield a knife in Japan, unless you have a license for it. Maybe going back to the Meiji Restoration where swords were taken away from the samurai. But you can't, if you have a knife on you, it has to be packaged or wrapped in a certain way. Having a bear spray walking around in the woods, good idea. Walking around Kyoto, maybe not a good idea. Kyoto is so frequented by tourists, I don't think there's going to be any bears. And I'm sure that the military or the police have been patrolling the highly touristy places. But right now the military of Tokyo is out, or the military of Japan, the self-defense force is out there aiding the locals in finding this to try to give people peace of mind out there. Morioka, Iwate Prefecture, in fact, all of Tohoku, they really need the tourists, and I feel bad that people are staying away because of the bear attacks. But the reality is that your chance of getting attacked by a bear is like 0.00001%. It's not going to happen if you're a tourist, if you're in sticking to tourist places. But if you are a tourist and you're going hiking and you know you're going to be at a risky area, then getting a can of bear spray. And you can get it on Amazon like 2 or 3 days before you arrive. Send it to your hotel and it'll be there waiting for you. Let the hotel know in advance that you're expecting a package. You can send bear spray either on Amazon or on Bic Camera is where I bought it, or Yodobashi Camera has them as well, a reputable brand. Or you can also buy it at Montbell and sports stores around Japan when you arrive. But if you want peace of mind and you don't have a lot of time to go shopping for it, you can have things sent from Amazon to your hotel. The address of the hotel, you just got to set up an Amazon.co.jp account, and then you can go and do that. I hope this was interesting for you and enlightening, but I don't want you to worry about bears. I think it's one more thing that people are concerned about, but the reality is that it's such a small amount of people that get attacked. It's like your chance of getting in a megaquake is much greater than it being in a bear attack. Despite the numbers going up, it's still a relatively rare thing. And in all of my time in Japan, I've only seen a bear once. That time when I was in Shiretoko with my friend Peter, and we're going around, we saw bears and we encountered it just once in bear country. They'll try to avoid you. It's not like they're going to come and do it, but if they're coming in the populated areas, there are locals and there are a lot of other people who can handle this kind of stuff. Tourists don't really need to worry about this. But if you do encounter one, don't run, don't turn your back. Just start walking away. Don't show your teeth. Maybe put your arms up and look bigger in a non-threatening manner. And 9 times out of 10, the bear's going to run away. Whereas 1 trillion times, like 1 million times out of 1, you're going to encounter a bear in Japan. So it's extraordinarily rare thing. We were in the car, so we felt pretty safe. But if you're a hiker, and you know what? I hate to say this, the bears ran into the woods, but when we drove past, it was about a minute later, we saw 2 bicyclists, all right? And these bears run about 40 kilometers per hour, which is, 25 miles an hour? So if you get a bear chasing you, they are very fast. Don't stop, all right? Just run. But it's a good idea. If you were in Shiretoko, you would have bear spray. Okay. Swiss Army knives. Make sure they're in a case. I can just say that. Don't just drop it in your bag. Put it in a case and then put it in your bag, because there's always the question. You're probably going to be okay, but the intent to use is who the heck knows. Knife crime is something that is the police. We have more knife crimes than gun crimes, of course, but we have knife crimes in Japan, so you don't want to be stopped for that. Anyone who's a chef that's taking it to their restaurant, or they bought a new knife, they wrap it up and package it with a string. And so if they were stopped by the police for any reason, who the heck knows, and it was inspected, they had it wrapped up properly, and they could say they know because they're a chef. So, you have to have a case or a packaging for it. You just can't have the knife loose. But if it's in a case, I don't know, the Swiss Army knife, it depends on the size of it, but I would say put it in a kind of a case or a sleeve, and you should be okay. But, in your carry-on baggage for the airplane, you can't put it there. It just has to be in the check-in. It's almost not necessary to bring it to Japan, to be honest with you. Peter's here. Hey! There are those small sirens alarm systems that women carry around to scare away stalkers. Is that possible to scare away bears? It could be. The thing is, though, that the bears, if they could feel threatened if you start to make loud noises. You make loud noises so that they don't approach you. In order to give them pain, you need 120 decibels, is what I was told. I could be wrong on that, but I was told 120 decibels of sound, and it's hard to find those alert things that can produce that. An air horn would do it, but you don't want to carry that around. A whistle might do it, but sometimes making loud noises just enrages the bear more. So making loud noises, after you've encountered the bear, I probably wouldn't recommend that so much. But yelping if you don't encounter the bear, or clapping your hands, or having a bell, or talking to a friend is a good idea when you're in bear country hiking. Doing it every 5-10 minutes is probably a good idea. I like to, that's why yodeling is a thing, I think. Yodel-hee-hoo, you can do that. If you are a yodeler, I would yodel in the Japanese Alps. But the reason is not just because it's kind of cool. And Peter, you probably can yodel, at least better than me, because you're from Austria. The land of yodels and strudel. But I love strudel. But the making the noise is a way to keep the bears away. There are places, I wish I had this video. This isn't another episode. I was in Akita, where there's in bear country, walking an Akita Inu, a dog. And while we were in the park there was a place where you can take a drumstick and you would bang this wooden drum, and that sound would keep the bears away. So everybody would walk by there, and before you entered into the forest, you would bang the drums. And every 500 meters or so, there was another kind of a thing that you could bang to make noise that reminded you to do that, so the bears would stay away. So as any kind of a sudden sound, the bear would hear it, sense where it's coming from, and they'd run the other way, thus reducing an encounter. Yodeling irritates bears like everyone else. Maybe, but bears don't want to encounter people, so yodeling might annoy other hikers, but I think the bears would stay away. They'd be annoyed so much they would stay away. But I gotta be honest with you, I kind of like yodeling, and I would be attracted to the yodeler and I would approach the yodeler. I would first listen and observe, then I would try to imitate the yodeler to learn the yodel, and then we would yodel together. And if it was okay, I would hang out with the yodeler and maybe go out and get some dinner and talk about yodeling. I think it's a great skill. Yodelers are really good. The professional yodelers, you could listen to it all day in the mountains, in the right atmosphere. Maybe not if my neighbor was doing it, though. Bears don't want to hear yodeling. They think that there's a lunch. I don't think so. Yodelers, I don't know if yodelers are delicious or not, but the bottom line is, though, that if you make any noise, it's probably a good idea. It keeps away the bears. Having a bell is a good idea, but I've heard that they're somewhat ineffective. Like if you take I don't know, like antibiotics too much, the antibiotics stop working. There's a bunch of, what happened here? The video stopped. All right, guys, I got no much. I'm just kind of messing around here. I don't have too much more to add. But go check out this video on East Hokkaido on the main channel. If you haven't already, sign up for the postcard club. And I'll send that out in a couple of days. I don't know what happened. The video kind of stopped on my screen. There it is. That's coming out on, I think I'll send it by Thursday or Friday. And if you have any questions, you can leave in the comments below. But you do not have to worry about bear attacks or bear sprays if you're just a casual tourist. But if you know you're going to be hiking, you can either rent it or you can have it sent to your hotel or get it when you get here. Not to worry. But knowing how to use it is probably a good idea. And make sure you get one that disperses a spray. It shouldn't be 30 seconds long. It should be something that sprays wide and far. That's why you pay more for that. All right. Thanks, guys. Mata ne.